Hello grade 8s, in this video I'm going to take you through the memo of the assignment on cash receipts journal and source documents, which was due on the 3rd of May. You've been asked to complete a cash receipts journal, which gives you some information, but you have got a number of cells empty. Now, a lot of you were confused by this, expecting me to give you a list of transactions, but all of the information that is missing in this cash receipts journal is right here in front of you. You don't need any other information. And it's all got to do with the fact that your cash receipts journal records each transaction twice. Remember in my first video, I explained to you that if you draw an imaginary line to the right of the bank column, you can split your cash receipts journal into two. So the left-hand side of your cash receipts journal records who paid us and how much. The right-hand side of the cash receipts journal records what did they pay us for, what did we receive that money for. And each line in your cash receipts journal records one transaction. So it's one transaction per line. So your first transaction, let's just go through the information. We have got a source document number 121, and the money was received on the 1st of the month. It was received from Big Bank. So that is obviously our bank of this enterprise. We then have an analysis of receipts column, a bank column that are both empty. If we move across to the right-hand side of the cash receipts journal, current income is empty. And then in the sundries, we've got an amount of 20,000 Rand for a loan. We know that the amount we are dealing with for this transaction is therefore 20,000 Rand. Where do we put it? Remember, every single amount of money that comes into your business must always be recorded in the bank column. You must record everything in the bank column. Do we record it in the analysis of receipts? Remember, this is where there is discrepancy between our explanations and the textbook's explanations. The textbook says you must always put everything in analysis of receipts as well. However, I've told you that your analysis of receipts column is only for things that go through your till. So that bank loan of 20,000 Rand would not have gone through our till. We would not have put that cash in the till. So we are going to leave the analysis of receipts column blank here. Now moving on to the next transaction, the source document follows on chronologically from the previous one. So it is number 122. This was on the 20th of the month. We received money from Major Concerts. How much did we receive? We received 5,000 Rand. Now the fact that it is in our analysis of receipts column tells us that it must have gone through our till. It must have been some kind of cash or a check that we stored in the till. Why have we not put that 5,000 Rand here in the bank column? Well, remember, if you've got more than one transaction on the same day, in this case we have got two transactions on the 20th of the month, then you will total those transactions from that analysis of receipts column and take the total across to the bank, because your bank column refers to everything that you're going to deposit in the bank at the end of the day. So that 7,000 Rand represents the total of the analysis of receipts from the 5,000 Rand from Major Concerts and the 2,000 Rand from Rick's Recording Studio. But coming back up here to this 5,000 Rand that we received from Major Concerts, okay, so we don't put it in the bank column. We know why, because we're going to carry it down to the next transaction on the 20th of the month. But what did we receive that 5,000 Rand for? Well, we've got an empty cell here in the current income column, so therefore we say we received it for services rendered. Remember, your current income column is where you record all money for services rendered in a service enterprise. So obviously, this guy seems to be some kind of music producer. He sold his services to Major Concerts, and he is going to receive income there for 5,000 Rand. Moving down to the next transaction, we carry on chronologically with our source document, number 123. Who did we receive the money from? We received it from Rick's Recording Studio. That is what is recorded in the details column. They paid us 2,000 Rand. Because it is in the analysis of receipts column, Therefore, it must have gone through our till. We then always put our money in the bank column. And what we did, as I said earlier, is we totaled the 5,000 Rand plus the 2,000 Rand to give us a total in the bank column of 7,000 Rand for the 20th. That 2,000 Rand must have been for services rendered as well, and that is why we put it in the current income column. Next transaction, source document carries on chronologically, and this happened on the 25th of the month. We received money from Lerato. We don't know how much we received in the analysis of receipts column. We don't know how much in the bank column. But if we move all the way across to the sundry accounts column, we see that there's an amount recorded there of 4,000 Rand, and that was capital. So Lerato must be the owner of our business, and he or she has deposited 4,000 Rand into their business as capital. Now that 4,000 Rand must obviously and always be banked. Every cent that goes into our business, we must record it in the bank column. So therefore, we must fill in G with 4,000 Rand. Do we know whether this 4,000 Rand was cash or check or an EFT? We don't know. So you could have left analysis of receipts blank to say you don't think this money was cash and it didn't go through our till. But if we fill in 4,000 Rand over here in the analysis of receipts column, then that means the money went through our till, and that's why we're putting it there. Next transaction, we have H in the doc column. It could be a follow-on. It could be 125 as the new source document number. Let's just have a look at what the transaction is before we decide what to put there. This transaction happened on the 30th of the month, and we come back to Big Bank. That seems to be the banker of this business. Our analysis of receipts column is empty. The bank column is recording income of 150 Rand. Let's move across. What was that 150 Rand for? Remember, if you want to know what you received your money for, you have a look at the right-hand side of your cash receipts journal. So we want to see, what did we receive that money for? There is a reference here in the sundries column to interest. So this is interest received on our bank account. Therefore, we must automatically know that our source document is not going to be 125. It is going to be our bank statement. So moving back to sundries, if it says that we have received interest, we know that we must then record that 150 Rand in the sundries column. And the reference is already given to us. The analysis of receipts column, are we going to put 150 Rand there? No, we are not, because that money was deposited directly into our bank account by a big bank. It did not come through our till in the form of cash or a check. So the analysis of receipts column remains empty. Now all that is left for us is to total our columns. So in the bank column, we take the total of all of our transactions for the month, and we get a total of 31,150. And that grade 8 tells us how much money this business made. Because remember, every cent that your business makes must be recorded in the bank column. So the total of your bank column tells us how much money came into the business throughout the whole month. Then on the right-hand side of the cash receipts journal, if we total the current income column, that tells us that we received 7,000 Rand into our business for services rendered. What does services rendered mean? It means that the business has sold its time and received income for 7,000 Rand. Current income and in other words, services rendered are your main form of income for a service business. Your last column is your sundries total, and that, if you add it up, gives you 24,150. And remember, your columns on your right-hand side must add up to your bank column. So your current income column plus your sundries accounts column, if you add them up, you get a total of 31,150. That equals your bank column, so your journal balances.